I noticed with interest in your written testimony that you said, and I'm quoting you now, the FBI uses all tools available at its disposal to combat domestic terrorism, which now apparently includes the crime of being Catholic. Let's talk a little bit about the FBI's egregious targeting of Catholic Americans. You have repeatedly been asked about the memo generated by the Richmond field office, we now know in collaboration with multiple other field offices, about recruiting sources in Catholic churches. You have repeatedly said that no human sources were approached. This is you on July the 12th in the House. You were asked directly by Jim Jordan, do you think that priests ought to be approached to give information on parishioners? You said, no, sir, no, sir. You went on to say, we do not recruit, open, or operate human sources. We do not report on religious organizations. You went on to say, this product, meaning the Richmond memo, has not resulted in any investigative action. But now we know that, in fact, FBI agents did approach a priest and a choir director to ask them to inform on parishioners. So were you lied to when you gave this testimony, or were you lying to Congress?
Neither. So your question conflates two different things. There's the intelligence product itself, which the Richmond field office created. It was written by, as our inspection found, by analysts in Richmond, reviewed by people in Richmond, and captioned Richmond field office product. Separately from that, there was an investigation of a specific individual who was amassing Molotov cocktails and posting about killing people. And it does not surprise me that there were people who knew that subject in that investigation, that is the guy building the Molotov cocktails and trying to kill people, that people talked to the witnesses who knew that person. And I think the product, the Richmond intelligence product, which cites that investigation, is actually pretty transparent about exactly what I just said.
No, I don't think so at all. In fact, the only reason we know this is a whistleblower has come forward and told the House under oath that the FBI went and interviewed priests and choir directors in the Richmond area. The House goes on to say that the FBI has repeatedly refused to disclose this information. The only reason we know it is because a whistleblower came forward with it. Just like the only reason we know about this memo is because a whistleblower came forward with it. How many other parishes around the country have priests or choir directors been approached? By the way, are Catholic choirs now, are they breeding grounds for domestic terrorism? Is this your latest theory? How many other parishes have FBI agents approached priests and choir directors to ask about parishioners?
Look, Senator, we do not and will not conduct investigations based on anybody's exercise of their constitutionally protected religion.
You have done so, and your memo explicitly asks for it. Your memo labels traditional Catholics as racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists in need of investigation. You have a list of churches, a list in the memo. You've repeatedly said we don't target churches, we don't list churches. They're listed in the memo. So how many other parishes have you gone to talk to choir directors, for heaven's sake?
As I've
know the answer to that question.
No, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can tell you that we don't investigate people for their exercise of their constitutionally protected religious expression. That particular intelligence product is something that as soon as I saw it, I was aghast. I had it withdrawn.
Really, you were aghast?
I was.
Oh, really?
Yes,
and what
sir.
have you done about it? Did you fire the people who wrote it?
No, I had it withdrawn.
Have you fired anybody involved in it?
Senator, if you would give me a chance to answer
That's a
your
yes
question.
or a no. It's not hard. Have you fired anyone involved in the writing of that outrageous memo, about which, frankly, you've repeatedly misled the public? Yes or no?
The individuals involved in that product
have you fired anyone?
Just a minute, were not found to have engaged in any intentional or bad faith conduct. And in fact, Senator, a number of the individuals.
Wow, wow, wow. That was incredible testimony right there, folks. The sparks were absolutely flying. I've done a number of these videos and done a lot of research and done a lot of viewing when Josh Hawley is basically, interrogating witnesses. And this is not the first time that he's had these dust-offs, okay, with FBI Director Wray. But you know, there have been times when Josh Hawley just gets absolutely, I mean, he was livid. And we all should be livid at that line of crap that's coming from the FBI director. I mean, the memo from Richmond explicitly says exactly what was going on. He's saying, no, we don't worry about anybody's First Amendment rights to the practice of their religion. That's not the question, Director. The question is, did you have field officers go out into the field and talk to Catholic priests and Catholic ministers and choir directors and ask them questions relating to whatever subject matter was interrogating them for whatever reason? And he's saying, absolutely not, absolutely not. So I just want to go back about maybe a minute or so to where the exchange really got hot and heavy between these two, and just go through that and do a little reaction to that if need be. But before we do so, you're watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir, where I give you my political prescription from my political perspective as to what happens when, guess what, folks, when you've got social media, you've got religion, you've got FBI, you've got the DOJ, you've got religion, you've got politics, and they all come colliding, crash together. Let's get to see that hot and heavy conversation again and go through it in slow motion.
And will not conduct investigations based on anybody's exercise of their constitutionally
You
protected
have
religion.
done so, and your memo explicitly asks for it. Your memo labels traditional Catholics as racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists in need of investigation. You have
Domestic terrorists, that's basically what he's saying, that the FBI memo from Richmond says that Catholics are domestic terrorists. Ethnically, domestic terrorists.
a list of churches, a list in the memo. You've repeatedly said we don't target churches, we don't list churches. They're listed in the memo. So how many other parishes have you gone to talk to choir directors, for heaven's sake?
As I've
Know the answer to that question.
No, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can tell you that we don't investigate people for their
We don't investigate people for their religious views, not for that. But we do send them out to talk to people about things other than their religious views. That's what we do. Oh, we don't even do that either. It's just listed in the memo. But we're not listing the memo. There's no list of churches, even though there's a list of churches in the memo. Oh, no, of course not. Oh, we don't talk to people, even though it's listed in the memo that we talk to people.
exercise of their constitutionally protected religious expression. That particular intelligence product is something that as soon as I saw it, I was aghast.
Aghast.
Withdrawn.
Really, you were aghast.
I was.
Oh, really?
Yes,
and what
sir.
have you done about it? Did you fire the people who wrote it?
No, I had it withdrawn.
Have you fired anybody involved in it?
No, he hasn't.
Give me a chance to answer
That's a
your
yes or a
question.
no. It's not hard. Have you fired anyone involved in the writing of that outrageous memo about which, frankly, you've repeatedly misled the public? Yes or no?
The individuals involved
Have
in that
you
product
fired
were not
anyone?
just a minute, were not found.
Just a minute. Oh, he's going after him. The problem here, folks, is that all these guys do is they squirm in that seat. They piss their pants. They crap their pants. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Who knows? Ray's been there for a long time. He knows what's going to happen. He's going to get slapped around a couple of times, basically by Hawley and probably Senator Cruz and a few others, Marsha Blackburn, Comer, some of these other guys. But in the end, he goes back home to the FBI office and he says, you know what? Those guys, they're never going to touch me. I'm the FBI director. They're not going to do a damn thing. They have no power over these people. None whatsoever. Ray doesn't face anything. He still has his cushy job. He's still the FBI director. He's still making his money. He still goes home to his nice house and family. Nothing's ever going to happen to him. He's not going to be held accountable. He's never going to go to jail. He doesn't have to work. He can perjure himself from here until the cows come home. And nothing is ever going to happen to these guys. Because that's just what happens. You're in the freaking cesspool. It's the freaking swamp, for crying out loud.
to have engaged in any intentional or bad faith conduct. And in fact,
Senator,
a number of the individuals involved in writing that product in the Richmond office were themselves Catholic. So the notion
Oh, I see.
that
So
they were
therefore-
targeting their own faith
So they
is
have a get
nonsense.
out of jail free card. I see. I
They-
see. So
I
you're
did
immune
not
and
say
they're
that.
immune. So we shouldn't ask questions about it. You haven't done a darn thing. You haven't fired anybody. In fact, what the House found is, what is it?
oh, so it's okay now. They were Catholic. So guess what, Senator? They were Catholic themselves in that work product. So, don't blame me. It's a Catholic on Catholic thing here. I'm out of it.
admonished them. They were admonished. And their respective supervisors were told to engage with the Human Resources Division to ensure that deficiencies are addressed. Oh, I feel much better. They've been sent to bed without food. Good heavens, Director. This is one of the most outrageous targetings. You have mobilized your division, the most powerful law enforcement division in the world, against traditionalist Catholics, whatever the heck that means. And you're just told us you have not fired a single person. I mean, here, it gets worse. The
Oh, my
Richmond Field
goodness.
Office, they thought there was nothing wrong with this. The House interviewed the head of the Richmond Field Office. He testified. It's all here in the public report. I refer you to it, pages 12, 13, 14. He testified he saw no problem with this. He said he thought it was fine. In fact, we have internal memoranda of the members of the field office high-fiving. One peer reviewer, another member of the field office wrote, "I think this is a great product. I really enjoyed the read." Do you have a problem with systemic bigotry against Catholics in the FBI?
No.
What are you going to do about this? Are you going to fire these people or not?
Those individuals have all been admonished, and it is all going into their.
Admonished.
If you
Oh.
would let me finish my answer.
They've been admonished. You've been a bad, bad, naughty, naughty boy. Or you've been a bad, bad, naughty little FBI girl. And guess what? You get to go home with pay, stay away for a couple of weeks. In fact, take a month off. And when you come back, go to Human Resources and just talk to somebody about this thing. And you know what? Everything will be okay. Continue on as usual.
It is all going into their annual performance reviews, which has direct impact on their compensation, among other things.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. I see. So the 60 million American Catholics who now learn that your FBI has recommended that priests be recruited as informants. Your FBI has gone to priests, choir directors, but we're to feel better because you've admonished them for their wrongdoing.
You again are conflating two different
Well, I'm
things.
not.
When
I am
we
taking your testimony where you said you do not. You said categorically, you said we do not go to priests and ask them about their parishioners. You said we do not. You didn't say we haven't. You didn't say we won't. You said we don't. As it turns out, you do. And you kept it from the public. You deliberately misled Congress about it. And the only reason we know about it is because a whistleblower came forward.
I just
That's the truth.
fundamentally disagree with your characterization.
There's no characterization. The facts are the facts. And I fundamentally resent the fact that you have violated, if not the spirit, if not the letter, certainly the spirit of the First Amendment, and used your law enforcement agency against Catholics in this nation.
Wow, wow, wow. That last 35, 40, 50 seconds. I mean, Senator Hawley just absolutely went after Ray, basically saying, okay, he should have just said, you're a effing liar. That's what you are. You're an effing liar. It says right here in the memo, right here. I'm looking at it. I'm reading the testimony. Right there, it says what? It says that you didn't. Not that you shouldn't, not that you won't, not that you wouldn't. You said you did it unequivocally. And yet, they did it. You did it. You went out there to try to recruit priests and choir directors to tell on their parishioners, to spy for the FBI. That's exactly what you did. You hypocritical moron. That's what he should have said. That's exactly what the FBI did and continues to do. And then it's there in black and freaking white in front of them. And yet they say, nope, wasn't me, wasn't us. And then the people that did do it, but we said we didn't do it, but the ones that did, if they did, we admonish them. We're going to, cut their compensation a little bit. Maybe dock them a couple of $100 for the year. Amazing, folks, amazing. But that's all that's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. We get made aware about it as the American public. Okay, so now Catholics ought to feel just like every other religious class here that they're being spied upon or asked to be spy upon their friends and neighbors and parishioners and churchgoers and whatever. Join the club. Join the Jewish people, join the Muslim people, join the Hindu people, join any of these, religious people, because the FBI is doing that. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host, Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel, like, share, and follow us. You know what to do. Check out our video links above and below. My final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.